Thursday night footy, the Western Bulldogs taking on GWS. Finally, a good Thursday night clash. Where do you sit on the head-to-head? Do we have an edge anywhere?
No, I don't know. It's going to be a good game, though. I'm probably going to tip the home team. It's my go-to, despite the fact that Doggies have struggled more than any other side with teams above them this year. But I'm just a believer in the Doggies, but not sure.
Got a few outs, the Giants as well. I think the Doggies, this is their last chance for me. This is their last chance to show that they can defend a team that can move the ball well and has targets inside forward 50. I don't know why I'm giving them another chance, but this is it. If they score a hell of a lot of points against them, the Giants, that's it for the Bulldogs for me.
Brownie, the Dogs, inconsistent. The Giants, inconsistent. I get the feeling a lot of people are going to the player props here.
It should be disposal fest in this game, so they won't tag and they both get the footy and they get a fair bit of it. Tom Green, he's got a great record at Marvel. 5 of his last 6 games when he plays there, over 30, and a lot of those are in the mid-30s. And Marcus Bontempelli, have a look at his last 4 games at Marvel Stadium. 36-25, 37-35. I don't think they run a tag on him. So he was my best bet last week. I'm going to put those two together at 27 and 29 and get a nice little same-game multi-package of around the 350, 360 mark.
Did you come up with a name for that, the Marvel Masters?
Yes, and it is marvellous.
It's fantastic. Marcus Bontempelli, All-Australian, of course, even with some games missed there, not going to matter?
I think so. I think you'll get there.
He's
easier to play at the back end than the front end.
Certainly is. Certainly is. You're bang on there, Brownie.
Of the season.
Bang on. Don't forget as well, you've got multiple markets there, new ones as well, clearances, tackles, everything. But quickly,
Tom Green for me.
Lockie Whitfield for me.
Jackie Stringer, 2+.
Aaron Norton, 3+ for me. He's finally found his form late in the season. Maybe it's the pressure on Sam Darcy, but no matter what, he is kicking goals. Enjoy the game. Hello and welcome to In the Back Pocket, a massive round of footy coming up. We're going to get all the best bets, all the previews, everything you need to attack it with vigour. But before we get into more detail, accountability is the name of the game here. Every single week we give our best bet of the weekend and we track it, we score it and see whose pig can get the fattest. Let's have a look where we're playing this weekend. You kick us off, Nathan.
One with Marcus Bontempelli last week. Almost went back to the well, but I like Cozzy Pickett. I don't like him for goals. I like him for disposals. More centre bounce attendances than any other demon at the moment. 22+. 4 of his last 5 games he's been having above that. He's been in the 24s and 25s, and against the West Coast Eagles, I think he's primed to get a fair bit of the football.
I've gone with Jezza Cameron. I've just taken him for the 5+ because I like the price, $2.55. It's still some value to get a little bit more, what did you say, fat on the pig?
Fat on the pig. I believe it was meat on the bone, but technically that is fat on the pig. So,
I like that. I'm not going to play into any more than 5+ because I think Port Adelaide do have a stronger defence than what we've seen, but I think they still get 5 out of him.
Well, I'm looking at the Cats as well. Shannon Neal, 3+ for me. I'm hoping all eyes will be on Jezza and they'll read the moment and know that he's going to get fed a lot and Shannon just gets off
8
the
between
leash.
them.
Reeks of desperation, Zach. Reeks of desperation. We'll see why when we see the pigs and their weight in just a moment.
Just for the record.
Now, what I'm picking here as my best bet, I deserve to be clowned next week if it's wrong because North Melbourne are playing absolutely tough. I'm not going back to the Sam Darcy well. I will eventually. But North Melbourne at the line against the Saints. And you know why?
Why?
I think emotional hangover for the Saints. Fantastic comeback win. Partying after the game.
Could be actual hangover from the scenes.
And it could be an actual
hangover.
Emotional hangover. I think that's what's going to happen.
What if it goes the other way and gives it an emotional boost for the rest of the season?
Well, then I'm in an awful lot of trouble and you'll be leading the standings.
There is nothing like partying on Ross Lyon's shoulders, I wouldn't have thought. he was a big partier back in the day.
Like strong shoulders as well.
Back against Fitzroy. Big boy.
Big boy. There we go. You can follow everyone right here on the feed as well. Let's jump right into the report card for our first game here. It is going to be Adelaide taking on Hawthorn. Brownie, where are we at?
Awful game. If you are going to punt, sit out of this game. There is no edges, no angles, no nothing. Tough game.
Is that the first E for the year?
It's the first E, yes.
The first E for the year. Wow, well, watchability.
Save your money.
I'm giving it an A. It's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And what we're saying here is not better, just better at beating them. Hawthorn, a fantastic record against the Crows. The Crows are a far better team, but I lean towards the juice that you've got on the price for the Hawks considering their record.
All right, I want to talk about Daniel Curtin and the fact that he has been unbelievable since he played against Richmond that long ago. He had 26 disposals, breakout game. He was $51. Have a look at him now, $1.50. And last week had 52% centre bounce attendances. So a bigger body like that, he's just going to get more and more of the football. He's way too short at $1.50. I would not be able to back him at that. But I'm happy to look at his 21, 22, 23 disposals this week and tackles. I think that he will be a tackling machine. They rank 3 and 4 in that area. So Daniel Curtin, bang.
Yeah, I think tackles is the place you want to look for this game, mainly because it's going to be like a finals-like atmosphere. I think if we're talking about the rising star, $1.50, as you said, far too short to be backing him. I think there's three real hopes. There's Ashcroft, there's him, and there's Murphy Reid as well. But Dan Curtin, he's going to be a frightening prospect for years to come at the Adelaide
beast,
Crows. He's played on the outside, a little bit of time on the inside. I expect him to go back to that traditional wing role. He sort of got those minutes when the game was not over, but they were well and in control. I think he patrols the wing, but I like that sort of 19 to 21 disposal line for him this week.
Yeah, the benefit of being part of such a strong side right now is that you can slowly introduce these guys into the contest and let them kind of build up their confidence. At a weaker side, you might be forced to expose them too early and run the risk of breaking down or overexposing them to that contest, but he's a star.
I wouldn't sleep on Levi Ashcroft in that one as well. You never know. The voting on this one, it's not just on data and stats. It can go absolutely anywhere. But I'll tell you what, let's jump to one of the best segments on this show, The Bet-chelor.
We are back for another week of The Bet-chelor, and Zach, we're going to start off with the Rising Star chat, which has had quite a lot of attention this week. Dan Curtin, Levi Ashcroft, and this man, Murphy Reid. He's really shortened up at $4. His season, likened to Cyril Rioli's back in 2008, 30 assists. He needs one more goal to get to 20 goals, which is what Cyril did in his first year. Can I tempt you?
Yeah, we don't want to put pressure on him just yet, but there are comparisons being made to Cyril, and you can kind of understand why. He's low disposal, high impact. He's very much part of this three-horse race for the Rising Star with Curtin and Ashcroft. It is a very tempting price, unfortunately, for mine. I do think Curtin gets the job done, and if it isn't him, I think Ashcroft is probably next.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you on that one. We're going to cross that one. Now we go to Christian Petrarca. You probably haven't seen a man look as deflated after a game of football as we saw on Sunday afternoon for Melbourne. 6+ clearances, West Coast. They do give up the most clearances in the competition. $1.55, where are we landing with this one?
Yeah, I like this. I think he can absolutely hit that target. Remember as well, the last time Max Gawn played against West Coast, he had a field day, 35 disposals and absolutely dominated. Now they've improved their ability to play on the best ruckman in the competition, but you would expect Max Gawn to get on top in the ruck, and with a player of Petrarca's quality at ground level, for me, it's a tick.
I'm with you on that one. I think he gets 6+. Now, it's going to rain on Saturday, 85% chance of rain. We wanted to get the radar up, but we thought it might be crossing over a bit too many lines there. But we've got Matt Rowell, 30+. It's a nice price as well. I think he goes above that 30+ against the Tigers.
Yeah, I agree. He feels like he's almost in career best form. He exploded onto the scene when he got drafted. I think he got 9 Brownlow votes in his first 3 games. This is as good as he's played since then, and with rain coming in, it should suit him. But absolutely a tick for me.
Another midfield bull. We've got Bailey Smith, 32+ disposals. Now, Bergman maybe tags him for Port Adelaide. I don't know. There's not much really left for Port Adelaide. I don't know if you'd go to Bailey Smith to negate him, but his last 10 games, all right, last 10 wins, he averages 33. If they lose the game, he only averages 24. So where do you sit with this one?
Well, you'd certainly expect him to win this game against a pretty deflated Port Adelaide side right now. And for me, if I'm part of the opposition coaching team, I'm looking at Max Holmes before I'm looking at Baz, and I expect him to get off the leash as well. Against this side, it's a big tick for me.
And then the final one, the man that's probably been the most talked about this week in football media. Why not add him to the Bet-chelor as well? He's 33+, Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller. Does he just run riot and continue his form?
Yeah, so this 33 disposal line, he's only gone over, I think, 6 times or 5 times this year, but 4 of the last 6 games he's gotten over. So he's been moved into the midfield, and he's playing right now like he believes he is the best player in the competition. So it's very hard to not go with Nas. And for me, again, it's a tick.
Hopefully we've found you a few good ones for this week.
Fantastic work as always. After watching that, I reckon you are most keen, just visually and verbally, on Matty Rowell 30+ disposals. That seemed to be the most excitement.
Yeah, very nice price too.
Very nice price. Can we get a third swipe?
No, I think so. I'm happy. He has to beat the best clearance side in the business to do it, so I think he does.
Well, he's hopefully going to end up in the Who's Hot next week. Who's in it at the moment?
All right, let's have a look at the Who's Not and Who's Not. The first up is
the double.
Christian.
How about we go hot as well?
Christian Slaneham. He's going really well. And then you've got Jacob No Stopper for Hopper. You've got Walk On Tex Walker and the Noble one, Johnny Noble. He's been brilliant. And now let's have a look at Who's Not. Who's not quite firing? And it is Sam. The bank's empty at the moment, just not getting the job done. Charlie Cameron. He's been taking a hammer, and Zach bail out Bailey, and empty. Dempsey.
Well done, well done.
Some of your best.
Did you note all those down at some point over the last couple of days?
I
Or
wrote
they all
them
just
right
got
there.
I thought there was some-
When you were talking before about your tattoos, I started zoning out.
Let's jump into our best bets then. Where are you going, Brownie?
Best bet in this game. Let's have a look at it.
You've got too many notes
under.
on there.
I was that excited. Total points under.
I'm going Jordan Dawson, 8+ tackles. He's had 10 last week in a wet game against Port Adelaide. As I said, I think this is a finals-like game, more tackles, 8+ for Jordan Dawson.
Riley T.
Oh, back to the
Pick
well.
3.
Back to the
For me.
well.
I'm doing this until it works, and this is the week it works.
Is there going to come a point where both of us don't rely on the team kicking 100 goals in a game for our bet to win? Because we always go the same thing. I'm not sure who
should
gets the
collaborate.
message
We
in
should
Got
first.
5 goals there and total points under, so that should be a good multi.
I'm going Taylor Walker for me as well. He's in fantastic form over the last 4 weeks. Adelaide, right now installed as favourites for the Premiership. Are we buying or selling that at $4.25?
I am buying that. I think their defensive profile, after speaking to Hoyney, just confirmed it. They are going unbelievably well at the moment. The only area that I think you can get him is potentially in the midfield at the moment, because I think forward and back, they are super set.
It's a fairly big part of the ground.
I'm buying that before this game on Friday night, because if they win, that is going to shorten up as well, and they've really sort of put their credentials on display.
And they're in a really strong position now to get a couple of home finals, which has a pretty straightforward pathway to the granny. So I'm in on them.
Now, you've set yourself a hard task for who's hot and who's not, because every single week we're going to need nicknames
Rhyming slang.
like that as well.
I can do that.
Enjoy this game. We're going to see you right after the footy. Here we go. Absolute blockbuster for your Saturday. Plenty to be tuning into this one. Melbourne taking on the West Coast Eagles. Kate, you've begged for this matchup for weeks and we finally got it. Give us a reason, Brownie, to tune into this.
Well, I'm hoping it surprised you and having a good game in this one, but it didn't make much sense. But Cozzy Pickett is one reason to watch it. The other one is the start of the game. So West Coast pretty ordinary early at being the first team to score, just a tick over 30%. So you'd have to be looking at the Melbourne Footy Club, their goal scorers, but to be the first team to score, they're $1.08, so I'm happy to take the $1.55. Get that extra, what is it, 47
Hey,
cents?
what have we warned?
$1?
We've warned you about the maths. We've warned you about maths. I hate to burst your bubble, but considering the season that the Eagles have had, I would have thought 31% to score the first goal is still not as low as I would have thought.
I'm just looking for value.
Don't
okay?
shoot the messenger.
I'm a value hunter.
Okay, well, if you want value, there's more value than that $1.55. You actually pick the Melbourne goal scorer who's going to kick it. So we're going to do that. We're going to put something on the line. The winner of this, if any of them kick it, you get $10 in the accountability bets
Extra.
at the beginning of the program. Extra next week. Brownie, who are you
I'm
taking?
going to take the fritter. He doesn't miss when he gets his opportunity.
I've got the Fist of Fury, Jake Melksham.
You got anything for Petrarca?
Yeah, short straw here. I've got Christian Petrarca and I've got the skinniest pig, so this is stiff.
Well, I'm picking Pickett. I probably got the easiest one out of that one to come up with something there. But then you go, so 31% chance that West Coast will kick the first goal.
Well, they've kicked it 31% of the time.
You know what? Why do I bother with that? Brownie,
I've got
take it
no
away.
idea.
Surely Cozzy's a value in this one.
Cozzy and also Max Gawn, the two most punted on players so far leading into this game, with good reason. Max Gawn had 35 disposals against them last time. They rank 18th against Ruckman. But Cozzy Pickett, so I've been talking a couple of weeks now. The trend is your friend, as I always say, Zach. But don't take him for goals. Have a look at disposals. He's been on the centre bounce more often than not, more than any other Melbourne player. And he is a good price to be having 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23. But there you go, 23, $3.14.
That is good value at $3.14. Gold Coast taking on Richmond. Kate, what have you got for us?
Yeah, Noah Anderson, he loves playing against the Richmond Football Club. 3 of his last 5, he's had 30 plus against them. 3 of his last 5 against the Tigers. He's also hit the scoreboard, and that is his last 5 games as well. 3 of his last 5, he has been hitting the
And
scoreboard.
then after the siren winner amongst that.
When they've last played the Tigers, actually. Good pick up, Brownie. The one that I want to look at, though, I'm going to do a same-game multi with Noah Anderson. We love our same player, same-game multi. 30-plus disposals, 8-plus clearances. He averages just over 7 for the season, so I think he gets 1 extra that he's been looking for, and an anytime goal. $4.50 when you have to rely on Noah Anderson, who has been one of the most reliable players for the Gold Coast Suns this year. I like that little same-game multi.
You have been big on Noah Anderson since the start of the year for the Brownlow as well. We've got to give you credit for that. You're still continuing to take a bite at the price, even now that it's into $7.
Oh, I think probably the last few weeks, Nick Daicos has been on fire. We know in Brownie's Brownlow tracker, he has, I think, a 2-game lead at
6
least.
votes.
And I think Anderson, he's been really good. I think he has a really strong back half of the season, or back 4 games of the season. But I think it's $7. It's probably a little bit short now. I took him at 26, a little bit more value there. But yeah, I think that Nick Daicos has pretty much owned the Brownlow the last few weeks.
It's a 3-vote game waiting, though, isn't it? When you come up against Richmond as a midfielder, knowing that they're probably not going to tag, so you'd be flat if he doesn't get the 30 plus and get the 3 votes.
Don't mind that market though. The most votes for the Gold Coast Suns, $1.45. So you can now start to have a look at teams and who's going to, you think, poll the best from their team. So him and Matt Rowell, I think he's had probably better 3-game performances or more 3-game performances, Noah Anderson, this season. So I'd be looking at that one.
What about Sydney and Essendon? Now, 84% of the bets on this game are for Essendon, a club that has, for all intents and purposes, been a rabble coming up against the Swans, who albeit a loss last week,
to cover the line.
Been firing to cover the line. Is there something out on the streets that I'm not aware of?
Well, I've got no idea. I don't understand it either. 84%, and they haven't covered the line in their last 5 games. So when you come up against the Bombers, they have not covered the line the last 5 games, but 84% is on that. The line is around 8 goals at the moment. That's not a bet I'd be jumping in with those punters for, so happy to sit out.
The only thing that I can think that the punters are thinking about here is the fact that Sydney's season is now done. So they lost last week. They're out of contention. They've sent a few players off for surgery to get their bodies right ahead of next year, unless they're just seeing there might be a little bit of a chink in the armour. There's less to play for. You know when your season's done, that next game is a bit of a struggle. Who knows if Essendon can at least cover the line and keep it respectable.
I can't see a world in which Essendon kind of hang on to Sydney because, yes, although their season is now kind of officially shot, it is a home game for them. They're still a very proud club, and this is kind of part of their whole Bloods culture thing that they love to push, and that will be the messaging from the coaches. So I just can't see Essendon hanging in with them.
Question the values of this club at your own peril. I say to the 84% of people that are going against them with the line here. I think the Swans cover this one. Let's go to the report card. Collingwood versus Brisbane. Arguably the game of the round in this one. Brownie, where are we?
It's an A for puntability. The Daicos brothers, you've got every other brother playing in the Brisbane side. You've got Lockie Neal, Hugh McCluggage as well. So it's an A.
I'm going A. It's an MCC nightmare. You know, the MCC they want, and I want MCG finals. If Brisbane win, we're not looking at an MCG final, potentially getting 2 over there in Brisbane. So I'm going for Collingwood in this one just for my own personal enjoyment.
Weight of money in this one, 80% of the money to cover the line for Collingwood. So it's about 7.5 at the moment. That's 80% of the bets at the MCG.
Well, the Pies fans love to bet. What about Nick Daicos? A little master appears to be back after people said he took a dip.
Yeah, he certainly has hit some very nice form in his last few weeks. He's just been everywhere. Like we said going into this game that we thought he'd get a lot of the footy, but he wasn't just fed the ball, he made a genuine impact. He kicked his first goal in league footy off his left boot as well in this game. He said Dad was giving him a little bit for not having done that yet. I like him again to kick goals in this match. So he kicked 3 last week. His record against the Brisbane Lions with both getting the footy but also hitting the scoreboard is very good. He's kicked 6 goals 4 against the Lions, which is actually the most against any team that he plays against week in, week out. He also has had 3 of his last 5. He's gone over 34 disposals. I like him. Another little same game multi for you to get over 32 and to kick an anytime goal.
Oh, with the new markets as well, they're taking advantage of the 32.
I think he is the hardest player to tag since Junior played. And there's been some incredible mids play since then, but he's been tagged and not been at his absolute peak. But I just think it's pretty hard to stop this guy finding it.
It's huge. He's a beast. Best bet. Where are you playing this weekend?
Aussie Pickett for me.
I'm going Alex Davies before the algorithm catches up. 24 plus disposals.
Max going 20 plus.
I like it. Well, I'm going with Jack Ross. 14 plus handballs. Again, taking advantage of the new markets. I reckon this is one of the ones that the algorithm hadn't quite caught up with as well. He's had some real low ones, but again, he can easily reach that target, I reckon. Enjoy this, and it's time for Daniel Hoyney.
Hoyney, 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 Hoyney.
Daniel Hoyney from Champion Data. Welcome in. Now, every single time you come in here, sometimes you shoot players down, sometimes you lift them up. How are you feeling this week?
What sort of mood are you in?
What sort of mood are we in? I'll go a bit of both, actually, today. We'll go a bit of both. There might be a couple of howevers thrown in there over the next few minutes, but I think all eyes are on Saturday night. Collingwood, Brisbane, up there with the 2 best teams in the competition, and we get a really good audit of what to expect, heading into September. And for Brisbane, they have stars everywhere, but I just want to throw up whether or not Dane Zorko is the key to what this footy club is going to be able to do over the next 8 weeks. And for Brisbane coming up against Collingwood, that's why it's a great time for them, because what Collingwood has done to them in recent times, they have stifled Brisbane's ball movement. They have been a team that's averaged 55 to 60 entries for the last 2.5 years. Round 6, they had 37 entries against Collingwood. It was their slowest ball movement game in 3 years against them. Round 23 last year on the G, 44 entries. Grand final day on the G 2 years earlier, 43 entries. So they can't move it against Collingwood. And I would just expect that this footy club, with what they've done over the last 2 months, with all-out aggression in ball movement, they are going to double down on that, and they are going to go and they are going to attack Collingwood and attack them hard, and it is going to be off this individual. They are going to want to get the footy in his hands like we have not seen for a number of weeks. Wet day on last Saturday against Gold Coast. Anomaly, I'm not really worried about that performance, but he only had 19 or 20 disposals. Round 7 against Collingwood this year, 20 disposals. They couldn't get the footy in his hands. They are going to want it in his hands to challenge Collingwood like they have not challenged them before, because if they don't, well, we see what happens against this footy club. They can't move it, then they can't get entries, and they can't play the game that they want to. So all eyes on Dane Zorko Saturday night.
I am hearing a Dane Zorko overs bet.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm hearing as well. And you would assume they've learnt a little bit from the blueprint of Gold Coast a few weeks ago, because they got the ball in their half-backers' hands and they went really quickly at Collingwood in that first half. Collingwood did struggle to defend it. Slow ball movement against the Pies is not going to cut it on Saturday night.
No, slow ball movement, and you've seen it this year. 11 times teams have gone slow against Collingwood. Not once has Collingwood been challenged defensively for the year. So the mode is there in which how you can challenge Collingwood.
So what's changed in the last 4 weeks for him as an individual? You saw how good he was going in the first sort of 13, 14 weeks. What's actually changed? Is he being targeted more from the opposition?
I just think if you're an opposition club coming up against this footy club for the next period of time, he is the number one magnet that you're putting all eyes to. Whether or not it's an absolute hard tag, but it's your half forwards and your wingers keeping an eye on this guy, that when he gets it, you've got to go with him and not actually sit back and let him pick apart with his elite ball use.
He's had some big numbers this year, Dane Zorko. Obviously last week wasn't his best, but for 30 disposals, he's $4.60. For 25 plus, he's $1.88 to put into your same game multis. That sweet spot around $24.65. But 30 plus, $4.60 if they give him the ball. Dane Zorko.
Yeah, just expect the footy in his hands if Brisbane are to win.
God forbid you even change that as well and you just go hit the middle ground, maybe 27-28 there.
That's it, Felix.
Well, now you came at Nick Daicos and you got destroyed online. God forbid, according to my rundown, you are going to attack another favourite son of the Collingwood Football Club.
The little champ's back, by the way. But but no, so I'm interested in Steele Sidebottom here and Collingwood as a whole. So pre-bye, we were all lauding what this guy was doing this year. You know, he was a top 25, top 30 player in the competition, as you can see there. But over the last 6 weeks, he's regressed heavily. And I'm just wondering whether or not it's Collingwood as a whole just trying to manage the minutes and trying to manage their way through this season. That, 5-6 week period, we were, 2 games, 3 games clear on top. We were pretty comfortable. But now, the last 4 weeks, is probably the most exciting time for Collingwood. They're coming up against good opposition for the next 3 weeks in a row in Brisbane, Hawthorn and Adelaide. Whether or not they now settle and go back to what they were doing early on in the year with a couple of their magnet moves, and if this guy gets thrown back into the centre bounce combo a little bit more than what he had been doing pre-bye to get those numbers back to the levels that it was, or is this Steele now for the rest of the season that his body might be giving him a little bit of grief. Tom Mitchell coming back into the team is taking away some centre bounce minutes. I'm not too sure, but I'm just curious around Steele and a couple of others whether or not now is the time for Collingwood to settle, charge in on the runway to the last 4 weeks to final series, and if he actually goes back to playing the role that he was pre-bye.
Collingwood looked much better with him playing a midfield role, centre bounce. That's not all of them. That might be 40 to 50%. But I feel like with the 2 big boys, Long and Mitchell, I don't think both of them belong in there. So if one of those comes out, you'd be backing Steele Sidebottom again for the 23s, 24s, 25s.
Yeah, and that's when he was at his best. That's when Collingwood were at their best. They're still going along okay. But at their best, Collingwood was when he was playing a little bit more centre bounce time.
20.5 this week. You taking overs or unders, Zach?
You know what? I might push that to 22 or 23 with the new markets. You never know. I like a bit of flexibility in my life. You mentioned Collingwood going okay. You've mentioned Adelaide, Brisbane. We've seen it's been a while since we touched on Collingwood as a team. Where do you put their chances right now? Admittedly, some ageing bodies there, starting to drop off a little bit form-wise. Where's your confidence with them heading into September?
I'll be tipping Collingwood all the way up until grand final day, until things change.
Until grand final day. So once
even when they get there. But I think Collingwood earn the right. They're the only team this year that has really not had a period of form issues. They've done it from the start to the end, and they deserve the right to start as favourite.
Now you've come at the old man in steel side bottom. Is there a youthful player in the league that can get a lift?
Yeah, just keep an eye on this guy at St Kilda, and I know he's starting to get some love at the moment. But Max Hall and what he is doing on the competition since round 12 is out of this world amazing. He's the highest rated player in the comp, and that's for a 2-month period. And the interesting part is what he did in the final quarter on Sunday against St Kilda. Rightly so, Nasai got all the recognition. He was unbelievable. But this guy at three-quarter time was thrown in to play 100% midfield time in the fourth quarter. He had 7 disposals, 6 of them resulted in scores. He had 6 clearances, and Ross Lyon mentioned him, 4 clearances in the last quarter, and Ross Lyon mentioned him post-game, which is always an indicator that Nasai was getting all the love, and he just said, just keep an eye on number 40.
Yeah.
He goes okay. We had a look at him in the midfield, and it was very happy with what he's doing.
Exciting for St Kilda too to now have genuine pace through their midfield, or a player that can really accelerate out a contest, which we saw just then with Max Hall and Wanganeen Miller as well playing minutes in there. For so long we've been saying that they're quite one-paced. Jack Steele, Jack McRae, even Sinclair at times, but now they have 2 players that genuinely can break away from stoppage and make an impact further down the field.
And a mid-season pickup, it's just a complete bonus. Like it's not relying on high-end draft talent. It's a mid-season pickup, so the recruiters deserve some love there. And this guy is firing.
It was only 2 years ago he got left out of a VFL side, I believe, for a final. Yeah, so it's a big improvement in 2 years.
Huge jump. Just the creativity with what he does. Just keep an eye on him.
Speaking of creativity as well, you don't usually see the double forearm wraparound tats without anything on the upper arm. Sort of like you, Hoyney. You've got the upper arms all inked up with stuff there, but you don't really see too much of that just forearm action, do you, Brownie?
No, you do not feel it.
It's incredibly interesting, and plenty more of that sort of stuff coming up a little bit later.
Get some of that into the show.
Here we go, massive Sunday slate of footy. We're kicking off with St Kilda and North Melbourne. Now, I reckon North are a live chance for a couple of reasons in this one. It's dangerous to say that, but is there another market outside of the head-to-head that we can play?
Why do you think they're a live chance?
Well, I think that there's going to be an emotional hangover from St Kilda. You saw Nazaya Wanganeen Miller on the shoulders of Ross Lyon, partying it up after the game. There was all that sort of stuff. As soon as you do something, a comeback like that, you sort of take it easy a little bit the week after on the training track.
Could it be the opposite? Could it be an emotional lifter?
It could be an emotional lifter, but I think a majority of the time there is an emotional hangover. It's like having a massive semi-final win. Sometimes there's a hangover in the next game.
When I kicked the goal after the siren to win, when I rose like a phoenix and took that contested mark, I think we were very good the next week.
How were you individually?
I can't remember who we played or if we won. I just wanted to crowbar that.
We're going to find those stats as well, because if you had a howler next week, I'm right. Kate, where are we playing?
Yeah, we're going to look at the tackles here, because like Zach said last week, at times North Melbourne, they'll be out and then they'll just kick it back to someone in the midfield so that they do get tackled. They're the most tackled team in the competition, especially in that midfield area. And the tackling beast, the man of steel, Jack Steele, for St Kilda. These are his last 5 weeks. Had a little bit of a down week against Melbourne, and when you are a proud inside midfielder, that's actually when you start to roll the sleeves up and you look at those stats and you think, I need to be better with my tackling next week. That's why I'm looking at him for 10 plus tackles, $2.10, our new markets. I think he gets 10 plus tackles against North Melbourne.
I like that.
Being slow is good for something, isn't it? At least you can tackle around the footy. Yeah.
What about who has a bigger weekend coming up, just in the folklore and the byplots of the round, than Jeremy Cameron? The race to 100. Now, it's probably going to have to be in a grand final, but it gets more and more interesting every single week. To kick 100 goals in the season. Now, this is finals included. You're getting $4. Now, the last time we spoke about it,
on Monday.
That was $5. So the punters are coming for this market, and I understand why. Because the schedule home is very, very easy. We saw what he did last week. Are we still confident, at least, that he can replicate some of this week against Port Adelaide?
I think Danger acknowledged publicly that this is on the cards, and he is quite a theatrical type person. So if he gets anywhere near 100 goals, they will dial it up to 11 in terms of feeding Jez.
And you know what? He's one of those guys who can kick goals in multiple ways. Snap, set shot, from the boundary. They're the sort of guys where it's not like a Sam Darcy necessarily where you got to hit him on a lead. He can kick it from anywhere, so he can really rack these up.
Expecting to get a better price than 4. I couldn't back the 4. It's a good market and I like it, but $4 when he's got to kick so many goals and then you've got to rely on playing finals and multiple finals potentially. I just don't see the value in it.
You can roll the dice at $21 for home and away season if you want. Is that more enticing to you?
No, I don't think he hasn't got enough games to do that in home and away season. I think he can get there in finals, but I'm with you. I think the $4, if you're looking for a little bit more value, you might want to look at our new market that we've been able to put up for Jeremy Cameron to kick either 7+, 8+, 9+, or 10+ this weekend. We know last week was 11+. Yes, it was North Melbourne. The last time he played Port Adelaide, I think he had 6 or 7, so that was already enticing for you. They had a huge victory over Port Adelaide, so you'd be looking at one of those markets.
This should be every week as well, for other people as well. Sometimes there's a game you go into and you want to back someone for 8, 9 goals. So hopefully we can talk this one into existence and we can have it every single week. What about, you spoke earlier about first goal scorer?
Always important to get away to a good start. Now, there's 2 players in this game who are the number 1 and number 2 first goal scorers in the competition. Georgiades is one and Jeremy Cameron. Jeremy Cameron already $6 into $5.80 as of Monday, but Georgiades at $12. He's done it 5 times this year. Jeremy Cameron's done it 4 times. Sean Manor at a big price. He's done it 3 times, but you feel like a lot of things will go through Jeremy Cameron at that $5.80, but I'm happy to have a little bit on Jeremy and some on Mitch Georgiades as well.
$5.80 is a short price there as well. You don't usually see that short.
short.
I think $4.50 might be the shortest I've ever seen for a first goal, probably in the Buddy Franklin days, something around then. But let's jump into the report cards. Freo taking on Carlton here. Freo rolling. Can they crack into the top 4? We'll touch on that a little bit later. Where are you here?
Good game of footy. Good game of footy to punt on, mainly on the Fremantle Daicos side. Maybe a George Hewitt bet somewhere, but mainly it's going to be Fremantle players. So I think it's a good one.
You know what? I'm saying for this one, watchability's a B, but car crash. For some reason, I just love when things go wrong. I love watching things when they go wrong. And right now I tune every week because Twitter is a very, very funny place to exist when Carlton lose and when they lose badly. And right now it feels like we're watching a car crash, Nathan. What about Freo? Do we think that they can crack into the top 4?
Oh, I think they can. I think they're playing good enough football and they've just added obviously players into this mix like Hayden Young over the last couple of weeks. This guy, Frederick, who's always dangerous. He's a player who can really light it up. He's a player who doesn't touch it as well. But their balance inside and out at the moment is quite good. Shea Bolton continues to get better every week. And the other one, that man there, Josh Tracy, he's been quiet. So wait until he starts to clunk them as well. Obviously, Voss has been playing well. But if he starts to clunk them, geez, they look hard to beat.
This is the version of Freo I think we thought would materialise probably over the last sort of year or two. And somebody like Shea Bolton, I made the point before that he's the kind of cream on top. He's an excellent player in a good side. Maybe you don't get the benefit when they're struggling. So as they begin to rise, their stars look even better.
Well, they run home. They've got Carlton this week. They've got Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. They've got Brisbane at Optus. You feel like if they win that one at home, they probably will finish the top 4. You're giving them the first 2. And then the Dogs at Marvel, which there'll be plenty on the line, you feel like, for the Western Bulldogs. So I think they can make top 4 with that run home as well.
Patrick Voss delisted by Essendon. I still cannot believe that. You go back to when they
Speak to Essendon supporters about it.
When they delisted him, all the replies online, but what are we doing? What are we doing?
But he won the best and fairest in the VFL.
And the Coleman equivalent. Yeah, unbelievable. What about Shea Bolton? Little talk about recruit of the year, that sort of stuff. I think maybe that's a little bit far-fetched, but he's certainly been a superstar.
Yeah, and this is a really nice matchup for him as well. Carlton, they rank 16th against those general forwards types, getting up the ground, getting a whole lot of disposals, so concede a lot to those high half forwards, and he goes into centre bounce clearance, which we know you love, Nathan, for an uptick in disposals. I like him. He's averaged 19 in the last 5, but last week against the West Coast Eagles had 25. He's a nice price as well for 20 plus, $2.21. When you think he had 25 last week against an opponent that you don't think West Coast is Carlton are playing much better football at the moment, you think he could get his hands on the footy.
Players with pace really worry Carlton. We saw Cozzy Pickett do it a few weeks ago. They didn't know whether he was playing midfield or going forward. So if you've got pace against Carlton because they're slow and they're big-bodied in the middle, nothing against being a bigger-bodied player in the middle, but players like Shea Bolton will play well against them.
I feel like I'm disappointed. This feels like Shea Bolton feels like a sitting duck for your trademark multi.
Oh, I've already done a couple today. We just, we don't want to just hand out the same player multis all the time. They lose their value at times.
Scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, let's jump into my favourite part. Let's go.
Big Reggie's wonderful multi of wonder. All right, we're getting pretty desperate to win one of these, so I've gone to a 3-leg multi. I'm always just getting let down by one at the end, so we've gone to a 3-leg multi. So Shannon Neal, 2+ goals this week. All the eyes are going to be on Jezza to see if he can kick a big bag, so I expect him to get off the leash. You look then at Shea Bolton, who we just spoke about. This is a really good team for him to play right now. He's in great form. He's rising with the tide at Freo. Don't know if that's a sentence or not.
It's a famous Irish saying.
And then Luke Parker, my favourite player in the competition. I don't think they can play football as a team, but I do think he can find the football as a player. So I've got him for 23 disposals.
One of your favourites, is he?
Almost $6. That's a wonderful multi again from the big fella.
You clash with him a bit when you played?
No, I respect greatly how he goes about it.
So did you request only going to a 3-leg multis to try and get a winner?
I inquired as to whether or not it had to be 4.
You do realise that if this keeps losing, you can't go to a single bet. You can't have Big Reggie's multi of wonder, and it's just a single bet. But also, while we're all watching Jeremy Cameron, hoping that he kicks 10 and continues this, you've gone for Neil 3 as well in another bet, and you've gone for 2+ here.
I've gone conservative. It's a good price.
What a killjoy.
$5.92.
You're going to be the only person in the world, apart from his parents, that'll be happy that you kicked a goal.
Don't care.
Let's see. Okay, our Sunday best bets multi, take us through it.
Hayden Young, so he had 11% game time against Collingwood, then 57% game time, had 23 touches last week. You feel like he'd be up around the 70 to 75% game time this week, so happy to take him in that market again.
Yeah, and Bolton, as I just explained, I like him for the 20+. He'll get up the field. I don't mind him for the 2+ goals as well. He'll get plenty of the footy, and I think he has a strong impact in this
9
game.
between them.
Come on, Killjoy.
We
what
do
are you
this
doing?
a lot. We do this a lot. Shannon Neal for 3. I went conservative for my multi with 2, and I'm going to push it out a little bit with 3 for Shannon.
That's a disgusting watch for you. I'm 6+ for Jeremy Cameron here. And remember, for the first time in a long time, as long as I can remember, you can take Jeremy Cameron for 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 10 goals. They're playing Port Adelaide. He's chasing the 100. Could be some value there. Now, I put this question out to the panel.
What is it?
We storm the ground when someone kicks 100 goals.
Absolutely.
Grand final day, corporates everywhere, me included. If Jeremy Cameron kicks
You're a
100,
corporate, are you?
I consider myself at times. Do they storm the ground?
Absolutely
Yes.
they do.
Do they? A bunch of suits out
We
there?
haven't had one for a long, long time. Fev, Buddy was the last one.
Yeah, don't talk about Fev.
Clarko parked the bus.
I'll tell you what, I hope he kicks 100 and I look around and I see all the sports betting execs all
Zach
out there
will be running
somewhere on
out.
the ground.
I'll be out there.
I'll
You'll
be
be
out
worried
there.
about that.
Yeah.
You take someone out. Hey, fantastic job, guys. Remember, we are back Monday,
Love the
5:30
footy.
for the review. Nathan, quiet.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.